Thank you for being here.
My honor, thank you.
Geçenlerde Apple'ın üst düzey yöneticilerinden Greg Joswiak İstanbul'a geldi. Kendisi 38 yıldır Apple'da çalışıyor ve şu an Tim Cook'a doğrudan bağlı 11 yöneticiden biri. Greg Joswiak İstanbul'da bir sürü yaratıcı insanla ve öğrenciyle buluştuktan sonra benle röportaj yapmaya evet dedi. İyi seyirler.
Ask you, how's your Istanbul? It's not a trip, but how's Istanbul been so far?
Well, it's a trip. You know, I flew here right from San Francisco, direct to Istanbul, and I love the city. I told you it's been a while since I've been here. It's amazing how much things have already changed, you know, in the time since I last here. But the people are amazing, and I have to say the food's amazing. You know, the energy around our products is amazing. I got to meet some of the creatives doing some incredible creative work with our products, which, you know, I get to, when I visit, you know, cities, there's a couple things I always like to talk to is creative people who are using our products to create some amazing things, and I also like to go to our retail stores, and I've already done both of those. And it's just an energy that comes with that that's very exciting.
I also want to ask you about, like, you've been working for Apple for 40 years, and
38, don't age
30.
me.
Yeah, I rounded it. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I say I'm 28, not 30.
Yeah, same.
So you've been working for
Yeah.
Apple for 38 years, and
38 years, yeah, right out of college.
you remember like your first years and like right out of college. Wow.
Right out of
like
college.
the first application you sent to Apple, or did you send an application?
Well,
or?
it's actually a longer story than probably you want for your video, but somebody had recommended me to work at Apple, and they came out to the university to interview, and I was one of a couple people that they asked to interview because I had been recommended to them, and they were nice enough to hire me, and that was 1986, so it was a long time ago. You know, but I like to tell people that even though I've been at Apple for 38 years, I started in 1986. I really don't even like to count the time before 1997 because, you know, Apple, quite honestly, had lost its way in some of those years. And then Steve Jobs had returned, you know, to Apple in 1997 and started to direct the company back in a completely different direction. So that, to me, is really the time to say that, you know, that's when the world changed, if you will, and we changed our approach as a company. We changed our approach to products. So what happened before 1997 is, you know, less relevant to what happened, you know, since 1997. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So like for you, how you approach your work also changed a bit.
Absolutely. You know, Steve reminded us that you know, companies fail because they forget to make great products. You know, they get worried about doing a lot of other things. And so Steve had come back in 1997 with the whole mission that we're going to create great products. And if we create great products, then everything else will work out. But you got to build great products, so which means we're going to do fewer products because, you know, you can be more focused, you know, on creating less products than too many products. And so we cut back the number of products we were doing, and we decided to really put all that effort on making each one of those as great as we could possibly make them, and you know, it began a journey that we're still on, right? That's pretty exciting.
So everyone was excited on 1997 when it was coming
Well,
out.
and to tell you the truth, not at the very beginning, because the company was almost out of business. And so there were those of us in leadership positions who were working closely with Steve that we were getting excited. But at that point yet, you know, we needed to take that and spread that word to our employees and to our customers and to our developers. And, you know, it takes a while to bring that message, and it takes a while to, you know, to turn a company, right, and redirect them in the right direction. So the reality was, you know, that was 1997. You know, we started to see some results with that, and we introduced the first iMac in 1998. You know, but it really wasn't until 2003 that the company really started to take off, and partly because that was, you know, the iPod was a couple years old then, and we were really kind of getting everything in shape at the company. So it takes a few years to do that, but then once we were heading in the right direction, then it was moving quite nicely.
I also want to know about maybe your busiest day or the day you were most excited.
Besides today? Well, and I don't mean to be completely facetious. You know,
Yeah.
we treat our success as not an entitlement, right? It is something you have to work very hard for, and so every day we need to bring an enthusiasm. We need to bring that effort of trying to create something new that will be the great products that you'll see 1, 2, 3 years down the road. And so our enthusiasm for that has not waned, right? I think that's one of the things that, you know, is a strength of ours, is that we have this incredible enthusiasm for creating great products. I wasn't even trying to be flip. It's every day. It's exciting.
Yeah. I thought you were joking about doing this interview.
Well,
Like
no, that's even more exciting. That's even more exciting. Yes.
Thank you. We also recently learned that the new movie 28 Years Later,
isn't that
directed
exciting?
by Danny Boyle, is going to be shot on not iPhone 16, because I guess they shot it last year.
15 Pro Max.
Yeah. So do you want to talk about that a little bit? Like when a director like Danny Boyle wants to use an Apple product, like do you collaborate on that with him, or what do you think about it?
I mean, in this particular case, he did approach us, you know, and that was earlier this year, I believe, right, to say that he was interested in filming his movie on iPhone, because he thought there were some incredible advantages that could give him as far as filming, and he wanted to get a little bit of insights for us how to do it. Because remember, one of the things that we've been doing is shooting our events all on iPhone. And
I think
really,
that's a great use case.
It really is. And one of the things that really changed for us was the 15 Pro and the Pro Max, of course, because we brought some capabilities to those phones, which of course are now in the 16 Pro and 16 Pro Max, that allowed us to do things we couldn't do with the video we were doing before, including log encoding. Right? We had ACES support, the Academy for Color Encoding system. You know, we did ProRes video recording. We had a number of things that were new to that product that allowed professional filmmakers or anybody doing professional video of any sort to just control the output at a much deeper and more significant level than they could do before. And so that's enabled us to do these incredible events that you see when we do our introduction videos, and it allows, you know, people like Danny to say, I'm going to create a movie, you know, shooting it on an iPhone 15 Pro Max.
And do you want to say anything, like sometimes people are like, when something is shot on iPhone, they're like, oh, but they had good lights, like, Yeah,
I love that one, because they must never have been to another film set, because you always need good lights. Doesn't matter which camera you're using. One of the things that I got excited about when we thought about, should we start to film our events with an iPhone, you know, should we, you know, as people, industry term, or eat your own dog food, right? You know, do we want to try this ourselves? The team, our production team, put together a video of which they were interchanging between the iPhone 15 Pro Max and very expensive cameras. And they would mix the video, and you could not tell. There was no, like, oh, okay, this one's this one, this one's this one. Because of our ability to control the color with log encoding, all that, it was indistinguishable. And that's where we said, okay, we can do this. And for us, that's been our target for years. We've said that, you know, our ability to do video, especially because of this incredible computational photography power that we have with Apple Silicon, that our rivals aren't other smartphones that do video. It is really professional video equipment. Now, of course, they have physics of long lenses, you know, and now, of course, you can adjust and add lenses to an iPhone. That's possible. But, of course, we have just way more computational power, right, than a typical, you know, movie camera has. So we have our own advantages.
Yeah, and we saw even movies shot on like iPhone 5 and 7.
Yeah.
I remember Tangerine, that was a great.
Yeah, no, it's been happening for a while, and it does allow, you know, Steven Soderbergh had done some stuff. It just allows them to be more intimate. I mean, we were just talking to, and I think you know some of them, filmmakers yesterday, who say, you know, when they go to shoot somebody with an iPhone, it just reduces the whole stress from the situation. When you have a big movie camera sitting in your face, it can't help but bring some anxiety. We're all used to an iPhone, you know, being at us. And when they go shoot in public, when you have a big production rig, right? Everybody wants to stand around and see. No one says anything when you're filming out with with an iPhone. So it just allows them all kinds of advantages when they set up a scene. Again, rather than have to take over an entire room full of equipment aiming at it, again, it can be very intimate, as far as the equipment setup. Oftentimes it's a gimbal, with an iPhone. So the next, great movie, makers are maybe high school kids using their iPhone right now.
Yeah. And with the huge camera thing, I also sometimes make vlogs.
Yeah.
And I still switch between a DSLR and an iPhone.
Yeah.
But when I'm on public, the easiest thing is to shoot with the iPhone. It's
Yeah.
like nobody notices it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like being able to use different lenses, because when you use a DSLR, when I want to zoom or like have the wide angle, I have to switch.
Yeah.
When I'm recording time lapse.
Yeah.
But like with this, it's like really flexible and really fast.
Yeah.
I also want to talk about sustainability a little bit.
Oh, good. Yeah, glad you are.
Because like Apple is a public company and it wants to grow maybe, but you have also a goal of being 100%.
Yeah, to be carbon neutral across
carbon
our
neutral,
entire.
I didn't want to say.
Yeah, our entire operations, which are now, but also our extended operations, even our product, life cycle, to be 100% carbon neutral, and it's a gigantic commitment. I don't even like to say it's a goal because it's our commitment to do that. I think it's more aggressive than what anybody's done. But also, this is the kind of thing we do want other people to copy us. I think Apple's had a history of having people copy some of the things that we've done, and this is one that we're going to encourage it. That other companies should be doing what we're doing. For example, all of our data centers run on 100% renewable electricity. Well, boy, when we made that commitment, I don't think people even envision the amount of energy that generative AI would consume. And so we're in a better position with having data centers that are already set up to work on renewable electricity, and any new data centers we create are the same thing. Whereas we have competitors really grappling with how are they going to deal with this from a how are they even going to get the electricity, from how they're overwhelming grids in some places, let alone looking at the environmental aspects of that.
Yeah, with the new deals they are making.
Yeah, there's some big ones going out there,
I also want to ask you a little bit about AI. My channel, I started talking about movies. I still do. And with AI, it's going to probably change a lot. Like being able to write stuff, or maybe we'll see like being able to make videos as well. We are seeing them, but maybe it's gonna go to a place where a student maybe might make a movie using AI. So it's gonna maybe democratize this situation, but also some people are concerned about like how people are going to watch stuff when everyone is being able to make them, or if we don't know if a person made it or if an AI made it, how people are gonna perceive those. Do you think about that?
Well, I'd say a couple things to that. One is we're very laser focused on taking generative AI and making it a tool for you, right? Making it something that whether it's somebody trying to get their work done, whether it's a student trying to proofread some of the stuff they've written, whether it's a creative trying to create creative things, and it's a tool to help you, not a tool to replace you. And that reminds me, I've been around for a long time. I've been at Apple 38 years. When personal computing first came out, there were a lot of the same fears, right? That it was going to replace people, and it, of course, not only did that not turn out to be the case, it allowed us to do things that, can you imagine today a world without computers, right? It's like we were able to do so much more than we were 40 years ago when computers were relatively new. And so I think that generative AI is the same opportunity. It's going to be an incredible tool for us, right? It's going to allow each of us to do things better, faster, quicker, and better than we were doing before. But it's a tool. So that's what I get excited about.
Yeah, because other companies approach it differently sometimes.
Yeah, 100%. That's why we said with Apple Intelligence, right, that it's really about how do we seamlessly integrate this into your Mac, your iPad, and your iPhone.
I also wanted to ask you about with the new iPhone 16.
Yeah.
We have lots of style choices.
Yeah.
How do you use the camera?
Yeah. I love the new style, the photographic styles. What I tend to do is, first of all, most of the pictures I do leave just as they are, right? But when I get one that I think, oh man, this could be really something if I change the photographic style, I love that you just go to edit, and they're right there. You don't have to search for it. Is right there, and I love to just go through and see some of the built-in ones, or I just tap. I'm sure you played with it. You just tap on the little touchpad, and I can customize it more myself. And I'm like, wow, turned that from just a normal photo to something that's very special. And as you know, it's not just a filter, or it's very sophisticated in what it does and how it's able to highlight colors and preserve skin tones, and it just allows you to do some pretty amazing things that. I don't consider myself a photographer, even though I take a lot of pictures. Yeah. But I've taken a few that I've used the photographic styles, and I said, you know what, on that one I felt like a photographer.
Yeah, it makes you a little bit more confident.
Yeah, totally.
I want to ask you about the filter thing also. Like, it's not a filter, the styles.
Yeah.
And you are able to do that because of, mainly because you make your own chips.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're able to take advantage of Apple Silicon, which, when you look at a camera is made up of, it's a system, right? There's so many different elements. There, of course, is the sensor itself. And we always invest in the highest quality sensors that allow you to capture the photons, right? The light rays, that make up the image we're going to take. But then that feeds that image data has to go through the system, and there's a number of things that we can do within the system. One is the image signal processor, which is part of the chip, right? So the A18 Pro, has an image signal processor that we've designed ourselves, and we've designed it so that we can take the best possible pictures. We can do the best possible computational photography. We also use other aspects of the chip. The CPU, the GPU can also, aid in that, and we have a whole pipeline, and sometimes we've shown this in keynotes, or we've shown this on our website, of all the different things that are happening instantaneous to you, snapping that picture, many millions of instructions that happen nearly instantaneously to take that, photons, take advantage of how it's going through the system, and then all the incredible software work, all right, we're doing to tune all that so that you end up with the best possible picture. And adjust certain things in certain ways that give you an incredible artistic ability, as we talked about, that even I can create things that look like a photographer had created them. And that's pretty exciting, because we serve, multiple levels of customers, right? People, again, who are the most basic at taking pictures, to people who are professionals and make their living off of it. And it's always been the goal that we want to satisfy both. Steve used to talk about one of the beauties of Pixar movies was that they could appeal to the child, but they could appeal to the parent looking for a great movie. And we've always wanted to look at our technology in the same way. They could appeal to the novice, super easy to use, but at the same time, somebody who's looking for more, they're looking for deeper, looking for that power user, that we're able to satisfy them as well with the same product. And that's a difficult thing to do, because a lot of products, trend to go one way or the other, and we've tried to make sure that we can do both. And again, that's important for us.
Was that a hard decision to decide to make your own chips? And you also make your own design, so people say, and I agree, it's one of the Apple's biggest strengths right now, being able to design everything, but also engineer it for the design.
Yeah, no, that was a decision to do our own chips that, again, go back to Steve, who realized that, look, this is such a fundamentally important technology when you're creating a product. That main, the chips that have the CPU, and the central processing unit, and the graphics processing, and the image signal processor, that is such a key part of a product that you would create, that how can we be better than our competitors if we're just buying the same things they are? And so, but if we do this on our own, and we can create solutions that are better than our competitors, and it certainly turned out that case. That has been a huge part of our success, is having these chips that we create that, again, remind you, because we integrate hardware and software. If we need to change the software to make those chips better, we can do that, but we can also change these chips to make our software run better. So it's that integration that offers us a better experience for you, ultimately, and so that's a super important part of our story. And of course, how exciting it was that 4 years ago we were able to finally bring Apple Silicon, our own chips, to the Mac. You know, and you see how amazing the Macs have been since that time, where they're, you know, significantly faster, you know, thinner, longer battery life. It just enabled us to do things that you know, we just couldn't do before when we were using the same Intel chipsets as everybody else.
Yeah, it was a crazy change for me as a creator.
Yeah.
I still have the M1 Pro.
It's a good product.
And it's working great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a big change. I remember those times where the fan like heat like crazy.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Oh my God, the fans would go on, and yeah, it was all crazy. And now it's like
when I got
thin and powerful, and you know, long battery life. It's just a different experience.
I first thought with the M1 Pro the computer was broken because the fan was not working. I was like trying to understand.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. It's very hard to get the fans to go on.
Yeah.
And even when they do, we run them very slowly. You know, as slow as we can, just enough to, you know, to keep that, you know, the air moving. But it's nothing like they used to be. To your point, when you had one before 2020, and it sounded like a jet engine was taking off.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
I also want to ask you about, what do you think the most underrated feature on macOS, Sequoia, or iOS?
Well, there are a lot. I mean, the reality is, you know, we every year, you know, we come up with a great number of features. There's only so many we can talk about, you know, because you can't overwhelm people and say, here's the 100 features that we introduced, you know. So actually, it's a great question you're asking. You know, I think there's so many, you know, for Sequoia. You know, one of the things that I really love, and of course a feature we talked about a lot, is that you can do iPhone mirroring, right? You can put your iPhone onto your desktop of your Mac, which is such an incredible feature. But what a lot of people don't realize is I can literally drag content off of that iPhone, you know, and drag it into my Mac. So it isn't just mirroring as far as seeing a projection of it, but I actually can interact with that and put that on my desktop, or my, you know, integrated into an app. There's so many incredible features that are nuggets that you know, sometimes they're fun to discover, but yeah, there's a lot actually. Like I said, way more than we could ever market.
That's why the creators like sharing their most liked features.
Yeah.
I think it's great. Like there's a big community there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, even, you know, when you look at something like the action button, which we've had, you know, the fact that you can easily create shortcuts, which, you know, shortcuts has been around for a while, but I think the action button gave it a new life. The fact that you can really do things that are, you know, just beyond basic functions. You can really have it run an entire set of steps. You know, one of the ones that, you know, we did talk about a little bit in the keynote. You could say, you know, you could have it do one thing during the day and decide that it's automatically doing another thing at night, because you could have a shortcut designed to do that. So.
I wrote shortcuts for different focus modes.
Oh, see, there you go. Yeah.
Like one of them at night directs it to Kindle.
Yeah.
Or I have the camera one.
Yeah.
When I'm like recording something.
Yeah.
Or I have the to-do app if I'm working.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been, the shortcuts are really like.
It's really powerful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I hope you shared that with your users, because that's pretty good. Yeah.
So when do you decide, because you have the shortcut app, we can do many things, like something I can do on the shortcuts.
Yeah.
When are you like, okay, lots of people are doing it, we are gonna add it to the system directly with no need of shortcut?
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you think about that?
Yeah, of course we think about that a lot, and we always have a lot of discussions about the kind of things that we want to create as far as features for our systems. We have an incredible process that we do that is you know, it involves really smart engineers. It involves, you know, product marketing, product managers that are, you know, out there talking to customers and users, and, you know, getting together to discuss what are the opportunities for features that we can, you know, create. We're usually doing those about a year in advance. You know, that we say, here's the features we'd like to create, and then we go through, you know, which ones make sense or not make sense, and putting together the operating system plan, you know, the OS plan for the following year. It's an exciting process, and obviously a lot of it comes from conversation with people, understanding what people are doing. And they don't always tell you the feature they want, but if you understand what they're doing or some of the challenges they face, again, hopefully we can then put together our ideas as to how do we maybe best solve the problem or issue they have. And so it's pretty exciting.
actually sounds really fun.
It is
trying
actually.
to come
it
up
is.
with
Yeah.
new features.
Well, that's why trips like this are important. You know, I want to come out and I want to. You know, I'm always talking to customers, talking to the creatives that I mentioned yesterday. We want to hear what are they doing, what are they excited about, what are the challenges, you know, what are the things that are difficult to do. And again, sometimes you get those nuggets there that says, okay, this is important. We should create some features that can help with that.
I also want to ask you about the sleep apnea feature.
Oh,
that's
yeah, it's
just
a great
released.
one. Yeah.
How did you come up with that? Because it's using the
accelerometer. Well, first of all, you know, we've had a big push around how much we can do around health, you know, around our customers' health. How are your trends in your health? We came up with a hearing health, you know, system that we introduced this year, and working our best to get it to as many countries as we can as we get through regulatory. You know, the ability to do a hearing test and use a hearing aid feature for your AirPods, so that again, so many people have hearing difficulties and either don't know it, but what's even sometimes more sad is people who know it who really can't do anything about it. Maybe it's too expensive to get a hearing aid, and we can create a feature that allows them to have that kind of capability with AirPods. Sleep apnea is similar. Okay, it's an issue that affects many people, you know, around the world, who many of which who don't know they have it. They just maybe don't sleep very well, and so this is using the very sensitive, you know, precision accelerometer of the Apple Watch, that as you sleep, it can monitor your breathing, right? And know that if you have a breathing disturbance. And so the next day I can look and see, you know, how many breathing disturbances did I have? Was I at an elevated level or not at an elevated level? And then what the iPhone would do over the course of 30 days, it will look at your sleep data for those 30 days and give you an indication that you would have moderate or severe apnea, in which case then you can go seek help from a health professional.
So you talked about meeting with creators and how you give a big importance to young people. Can you talk more about the conversations you have with maybe young creators or young people, and how do you collaborate with them?
Yeah, it's so funny you ask, because it's one of the things that I talk about a lot is the fact that how excited I get by talking to, you know, Gen Z or next gen customers, because I feel at Apple we connect better with this generation than we ever had with previous generation. There's so much we have in common. There's a feeling in that generation of leaving the world better than we found it, and that's been an Apple value for quite some time. There's a higher preponderance of creativity, you know, in that generation, and we help expose that creativity. We help give them tools to aid that creativity. There's just a lot of things about our products that connect so well with this generation that, to me, it makes me very excited, because that's important, right? Is that you're appealing to the people who are young now, because they're obviously going to be around for a long time, and so it gives me, you know, great faith into our business that we're doing the things that are relevant today to people who are going to be the customers for a long time, and we do it as not just as a commercial interest, because that's sincerely who we are and what we do, and that's also important in that generation. Of authenticity, right? They can smell BS, you know, from a mile away, and we, you know, going back to Steve, always told us that we're never going to pretend to be something we're not, right? We are who we are, and we're going to try to make great products that make people happy, and hopefully it does that, but we're not going to pretend to be something else. We have to be very authentic. He would say there's nothing less cool than pretending you're cool, you know. So anyway, it's very exciting to me.
That's all I have. Thank you so much for
great
taking
questions.
your time.
No, it's a great question.
Is there anything you want to add, or?
No. I think you covered it all. You know, I could be here all day. You know.
All right, yeah. Next time, hopefully, if you have time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Enjoy your Istanbul.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I love it here. Thank you.